Managing ADHD can be difficult. Managing ADHD in teenage boys, that is even more challenging. If you have a preteen or teenage boy with ADHD, then stick around because in this video, we're going to cover strategies that can help parents managing ADHD during these pivotal years. I'm Dana Kate, your ADHD health and nutrition practitioner, and I specialize in helping families of children with ADHD learn how to reduce ADHD symptoms using natural strategies. Now, as we get started, let's talk about why it can be challenging to manage ADHD, especially in teenage boys. The preteen and teenage years are a time of significant transition, not just physically, but emotionally and socially as well. So for teenage boys with ADHD, these changes can feel even more intense. The pressures of school responsibilities increase, social dynamics shift, and the quest for independence becomes more pronounced. Teenage boys with ADHD may struggle more with impulse control, staying organized, and managing their emotions. They're also trying to figure out who they are while also dealing with ADHD symptoms. It can be a tumultuous time, to say the least, but it's also full of opportunity for growth and learning. Understanding the unique challenges ADHD teens face is the first step in supporting them to navigate that adolescence successfully. So, let's take a moment to break down ADHD, especially focusing on how its symptoms might shift or present differently during the teenage years. So ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, is a condition that's marked by patterns of inattention, inability to focus, hyperactivity, so much energy, and also impulsivity. But as children with ADHD enter their teenage years, these symptoms can evolve and can present new challenges and new experiences. During adolescence, impulsivity might not just mean blurting out answers without raising a hand. It can translate into risk-taking behaviors. This might involve experimenting with substances, driving recklessly, or making spur-of-the-moment decisions without really considering the consequences. And these teen years are a time where seeking thrills can be especially appealing. But for teens with ADHD, the brakes might be a little harder to apply. Social interactions also take on this new layer of complexity in the teenage years. The desire to fit in and form meaningful connections really intensify, but ADHD can make managing these social interactions even more challenging. They can misread social cues, struggle to maintain friendships, or feel really misunderstood. These can become more pronounced, impacting a teen's self-esteem and sense of belonging. Relationships with family and friends, once sources of uncomplicated support, can be strained as teens push for that independence while really still needing guidance and understanding. Now, academically, the stakes are higher as well. High school brings more demanding coursework, longer-term projects, and the expectation of greater independence in managing studies. For teens with ADHD, keeping up with assignments, organizing work, and maintaining focus can become even more daunting tasks. And this can lead to a cycle of academic struggles, frustration, and really decreases their self-esteem as they compare their performance with peers and grapple with their own expectations. Now, because of these challenges that affect many teens with ADHD, it's really important to keep those lines of communication open. But I hear you asking, how do we do this? How can parents keep the lines of communication open with their teens, specifically their teenage boys with ADHD? It really starts with creating an environment where teenagers feel safe to express their feelings and challenges without the fear of judgment or immediate reprimand. So here are some tips to encourage that effective communication. Number one is initiate conversations. Don't wait for your teen to come to you. Gently initiate conversations about their day their interests, and yes, even their challenges. Show that you're really genuinely interested in their world. I actually find the best time to talk to my teen is in the car when I'm taking him to some activity or some sport. Number 2 is listen more than you speak. This is by far the most important thing to remember when parenting a teenager. Listen more, talk less. When your teen does open up, prioritize listening over responding. Resist that urge to jump in with solutions or critiques immediately. Sometimes they might just need someone to listen. Number 3 is validate their feelings. Acknowledge and validate their feelings, even if you don't fully understand them, and you probably won't most of the time. Validation doesn't mean you agree with everything they say, but it shows you respect their perspective. Number 4 is ask open-ended questions. Encourage deeper reflection and conversation by, those open-ended questions. For instance, instead of asking if they had a good day, ask what part of their day they enjoyed the most and why. Next is create regular check-ins. Establish a routine that includes regular check-in times, like during a weekly family meal, where everyone can share and discuss their week freely. This consistency helps build a habit of communication. One way to do this is by asking everyone around the dinner table to share a high and a low from the day, or consider using conversation starters around the dinner table. These can be a really fun way to get kids talking. Number 6 is lead by example. You want to model the open and honest communication you'd like to see from them. Share your own feelings, your own challenges when appropriate. This shows that vulnerability and honesty that are valued and safe in your family environment. And finally, number 7, educate yourself. Learn about ADHD, how it affects your teen. The more you understand your child, the better you can empathize and communicate effectively about the challenges it brings. Remember, the goal of these strategies is not to fix every issue, but to build a bridge of communication that lets your teen know they're not alone. Now, outside of keeping those lines of communication open, what else can parents do to help their teen sons with ADHD? Keep watching because I'm now going to share several more strategies in the next couple of minutes. And that first strategy parents can use is to create routines and systems tailored to their unique needs, both at home and at school. At home, you can start by establishing a structured daily routine that includes clear expectations for mornings, for after school time, and for evenings. And this structure really helps, reduce that uncertainty, making it easier for teenagers to focus and managing their expectations and their responsibilities. But remember, with teens, it's important to involve them in creating this routine as much as possible. By doing so, you're respecting their growing need for independence and their input, which can really increase their commitment to follow through with it. Encourage them to really identify their personal goals and brainstorm strategies to achieve them. You can offer that guidance and adjustments as needed. This real collaborative approach is the key to making this work with our teenage boys. Incorporating organizational tools like planners or digital apps can also help teenagers keep track of assignments, deadlines, and personal tasks. You can use visual aids, things like calendars and to-do lists. Placed in common areas can also provide helpful reminders and a sense of control over their schedules. Now, what about school? It's really important for parents of teens with ADHD to collaborate with teachers and school staff. This includes ensuring that educational accommodations like IEPs, which are individualized education programs, or 504 plans are in place and actively managed. These plans are designed to provide the specific support and modifications your teenager needs to thrive academically. I've done a video previously about the difference between 504s and IEPs. I'll add that link to the video description, so take a look there if you're needing more information on those. Open communication with teachers is the key to monitoring progress, identifying areas of concern, and adjusting strategies as needed. Regularly scheduled meetings can facilitate this dialogue, providing opportunities to really discuss your teenager's achievements and challenges, both academically and behaviourally. Now, you might also want to explore extracurricular activities and support groups offered by the school that cater to your child's interests and strengths. These can really provide a valuable outlet for that energy, for that opportunity for socialization, and arenas for success outside of the traditional classroom setting. So, to summarize, so far we've talked about 2 strategies that are important for parents of teens with ADHD. So, keeping those lines of communication open and creating routines and systems both at home and at school that support their unique needs. Let's dive into some more strategies that have shown to be particularly effective for teenagers. The first one is setting clear expectations. Now, for teenagers with ADHD, it's important to establish clear, achievable expectations for behavior, for academics, and for daily responsibilities. Teenagers with ADHD, they thrive when they know exactly what's expected of them, and these expectations should be concise, they should be realistic, and frame positively to encourage engagement and understanding. Another strategy is having consistent consequences. Now, consistency in consequences for actions, both positive and negative, helps teenagers understand the direct correlation between their behavior and the outcome. It's important that these consequences are predetermined and communicated clearly beforehand. And this consistency really aids in that, developing a sense of predictability and fairness, which is really important for teenagers who are learning to navigate their choices and actions. Positive reinforcement can also work well for teens with ADHD. And this could be verbal praise for meeting a goal, privileges for consistent effort, or even tangible rewards for significant achievements. Positive reinforcement encourages repetition of those really good behaviors, and it really reinforces a cycle of success and confidence. Perhaps one of the most empowering strategies is involving teenagers in the decision-making process, whether that's setting goals, creating routines, or establishing rules and consequences. Having a say gives them a sense of ownership and responsibility over their actions. This involvement fosters autonomy and shows trust in their ability to make positive choices. Now, if you've been following my channel for very long, you probably already know I recommend families of kids with ADHD make some lifestyle and dietary changes like removing the top inflammatory foods like gluten and dairy, artificial flavors, colors, and excessive amounts of sugar from the diet. So now you might be thinking, how in the world can I get my teenager with ADHD to follow these dietary recommendations? This is definitely a great question and one I get asked a lot. I actually interviewed a teenager for my podcast, the Soaring Child podcast, not too long ago, and he shared some amazing tips and tricks for how to handle having a different diet as a teenager. I'm going to pop the link to that video in the description below, so check that out. I think you'll be really, really encouraged and amazed by his story. He's pretty amazing. He's a pretty amazing young man and has so much wisdom to offer. So I definitely check that one out. But for this video, I do want to share some quick suggestions of things you can do as a parent of a teenage boy with ADHD to help them make healthy lifestyle choices. These healthy lifestyle choices are really important because they really are the foundation of it all. If your diet is bad, or you never get exercise or never get enough sleep, you're never going to be able to function at your best. The reverse is also true. If you eat a healthy diet that reduces inflammation in the body, the gut, and the brain, if you're getting plenty of sleep and exercise, then you can become your best self. And that's what this channel is all about, helping you to help your child become his or her best self. And that happens through daily choices to live healthier lives. But as we all know, teens have growing independence. They're away from us more and making more and more decisions on their own. So how can we help them make healthy choices? We want to start by educating them on how lifestyle choices can directly affect their ADHD symptoms. I already mentioned diet, but basically you want to explain to your child that what we eat directly affects how we feel and how we function. For teenagers with ADHD, a balanced diet rich in whole fruits and veggies, grass-fed or wild-caught proteins, healthy fats can really provide the essential nutrients needed for their brain health and to stabilize energy levels. Reducing sugar and processed foods is also beneficial, as these can lead to those spikes and those crashes in energy that really exacerbate ADHD symptoms. Involving teenagers in meal planning and preparation and shopping can make them more invested in what they eat and teach them valuable nutrition skills. Now, along with diet, you also want to teach them about the importance of exercise and sleep. Exercise is such a powerful tool for managing ADHD. It helps to burn off excess energy, improve concentration, and reduce impulsivity. Physical activity also triggers the release of endorphins, known as those sort of feel-good hormones, which can enhance mood and really alleviate stress as well. So really encouraging teenagers to engage in sports, join a gym, or even participate in daily family walks can make exercise a regular part of their routine. Adequate sleep is crucial for everyone, but it's especially important for teenagers with ADHD. Lack of sleep worsens symptoms such as inattention, impulsivity, and emotional volatility. So really establishing a consistent bedtime routine that encourages winding down in the evening can help promote better sleep. This might include limiting screen time before bed, creating a cool and comfortable sleeping environment, and having a set bedtime that is adhered to even on weekends. Listen, I know how hard this is for teens, but it's also really important. So you want to involve them as much as you can in the plan, but definitely reiterate to them why this is so important. In all of these areas, diet, exercise, sleep, setting goals together, and then step back to allow them some autonomy in how they meet these goals, offering support and guidance as needed. Celebrate their successes and discuss what they can learn from the setbacks without judgment. Now, let's dive into social challenges that teenage boys with ADHD often struggle with. Teenage boys with ADHD might struggle with social cues and maintaining friendships. It's important to coach them on understanding these cues and reacting appropriately. Role playing, might seem a bit funny to them, but it can be a great way to practice these skills in a safe environment. Encourage them to engage in group activities that align with their interests, whether it's sport, music, or clubs. As shared interests can really help break the ice and forge connections. Teens with ADHD may also be more susceptible to peer pressure due to their desire to fit in and be accepted by others. And this is another reason it's so important to keep those lines of communication open. Talk with your teen about scenarios they might face and strategize on ways to handle them. Teach them the value of saying no and rehearse assertive but polite ways to do so. Building their confidence and decision-making skills can really empower them to make choices that are right for them rather than, succumbing to group influence. Now, another social challenge that hits during the teen years is dating. Entering the dating scene can be particularly tricky for boys with ADHD. Impulsivity can lead to premature expressions of affection or misunderstandings. It's important for parents to talk with their teens about respect and consent in relationship. Now, really, with all of these social challenges that come with having a teen with ADHD, the key to all of them is continuous, open communication, as you've heard me say a few times. Regular check-ins where you listen more than you talk can encourage your teenager to share their social experiences and their concerns with you. Provide guidance on interpreting social interactions and managing their responses. You might also consider seeking the help of a therapist or a counselor if your teen struggles significantly with social skills. Sometimes professional guidance is needed to develop these, and sometimes it's better coming from someone else rather than mum or dad. Now, navigating social challenges isn't easy for any teen, let alone those with ADHD. But with the right support and strategies, teenage boys can develop the social skills and confidence needed to build and maintain healthy, lasting relationships. I'm thinking again about that young man I interviewed for the Soaring Child podcast. This teenager had a lot of challenges to overcome, but he did it. And now he's thriving. Again, that interview link is in the description below, so check it out. With the help of his parents, he learned how to advocate for himself and how to make healthy lifestyle choices that in the end helped him reduce his ADHD medications by 90%. He told me in that interview the changes he made, though certainly hard at the time, were totally worth it because of how good he feels now. So, will it be hard to raise a teenage boy with ADHD? At times, yes, it definitely will be. But I have seen so many families navigate these waters and find success on the other side. Their teens are growing up into amazing young men, mine included, and they were a part of making that happen. So, in summary today, we talked about several strategies that can help parents of teenage boys with ADHD. We talked about keeping those lines of communication open. We talked about routines and systems to implement at home and at school. We talked about setting clear expectations, involving them in decision-making, teaching them why it's so important to eat a healthy diet and get enough sleep and exercise, and other tips as well. In all of these strategies, though, the key is to be flexible. Listen to your teen and adapt strategies as they grow and their needs change. And they will change all the time. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. What tips do you have for managing ADHD in teenage boys? Let me know your experiences, your questions, or thoughts in the comments below. If you have found this video helpful, or if you're looking for more content on ADHD and strategies for successful management across different life stages, please like, please share, and subscribe to our channel. And as always, if you're looking for personalized support, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. Bye for now.